Rati of attachment, prema and love, taratamye by comparison, bhakta devotee, taratama superior or superlative, ekadasha skandhe in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tara of this, Kariyache has made, Lakshana symptoms. Translation and purport of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee is considered superlative or superior according to his attachment and love. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the following symptoms have been given. Purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has stated that if one has developed faith in Krishna consciousness, he is to be considered an eligible candidate for further advancement in Krishna consciousness. Those who have faith are divided into three categories: Uttama, Madhyama, and Kanishka. First class, second class, and neophyte. A first-class devotee has firm conviction in the revealed scriptures and is expert in arguing according to the Shastras. He is firmly convinced of the science of Krishna consciousness. The Madhyakari or second-class devotee has firm conviction in Krishna consciousness, but he cannot support his conviction by citing Shastric references. The neophyte devotee does not yet have firm faith. In this way, the devotees are typed. The standard of devotion is also categorized in the same way. A neophyte believes that only love of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is very good, but he may not know the basic of pure Krishna consciousness or how one can become a perfect devotee. Sometimes in the heart of a neophyte, there is attraction for karma, jnana, or yoga. When he is free and transcendental to mixed devotional activity, he becomes a second-class devotee. When he becomes expert in logic and can refer to the Shastras, he becomes a first-class devotee. The devotees are also described as positive, comparative, and superlative in terms of their love and attachment for Krishna. It should be understood that a Madhyakari, a second-class devotee, is fully convinced of Krishna consciousness, but cannot support his convictions with Shastric reference. A neophyte may fall down by association with non-devotees because he is not firmly convinced and strongly stated. The second-class devotee, even though he cannot support his position with a Shastric reference, can gradually become a first-class devotee by studying the Shastras in association with a first-class devotee. However, if the second-class devotee does not advance himself by association with a first-class devotee, he makes no progress. There is no possibility that a first-class devotee will fall down, even though he may mix with non-devotees to preach. Conviction and faith gradually increase to make one an Uttamadhikari, a first-class devotee. Omayanatimirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshuranmiritam yena tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam stapitam yena bhutare swayam rupa kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasya nubhivacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita is instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami. And this chapter called Opulence, Process of Devotional Service. We know that Sanatana Goswami is Sambandhacharya in our disciplic succession. And Sambandha means understanding our relationship with the Supreme Lord. And Lord Chaitanya explained the all details of devotional service to Sanatana Goswami. With intention that Sanatana Goswami later will write many books and more elaborate explain these instructions which he has got from Lord Chaitanya. And in this chapter, Lord Chaitanya explains three kinds of devotees: neophyte devotee, second-class devotee, and highest devotee, most advanced. Means Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. And interesting is that he gives two criteria how to see, how to recognize these different kinds of gradations of devotees. And he gives two criteria. First criteria is faith, and the second criteria is love and attachment. And the verses which we have read explains both criteria, because these verses mixed. Yeah. And first, Lord Chaitanya explains according to faith. The first class, the third class devotee, Kanishta Adhikari, has little faith in devotional service, little trust. And from practical point of view, this kind of trust which he has bring him to association with devotee. For example, he can come to the temple, or he can come to his friend who is devotee, and his trust, his faith enough to come and associate with more advanced devotee. Yeah. He don't very expert in, of course, in shastras and different scriptures. The second class devotee, or Madhya Madhyakari, he has firm faith in devotional service, and usually he cannot be converted again in materialism. Yeah. And in Nectar of Instructions, Srila Prabhupada explains that neophyte devotee can fall down because when he mixed with other people who has firm faith in materialistic way of life, his attachment, old attachment, materialistic life can be again grown, and he can give up the devotional service. But Madhyam Adhikari, he has firm faith in devotional service, and he cannot be moved. He cannot come under the influence of some materialistic propaganda and etc. And but such devotee has no he not very expert in the revealed scriptures. Therefore, he cannot prove, or he cannot argue on the basic of scriptures with non-devotees, and he cannot change their minds. Yeah, because he not very expert, but he has firm faith in devotional service. And the first class devotee, Uttama Adhikari, he has firm faith in devotional service, and he very expert in the revealed scriptures. Therefore, he can convert he can conquer any. He can conquer and prove the glory of devotional service in Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, if you heard attentively the purport, say that for second-class devotee, it's very important to associate with first-class devotee, because by such association, he also make advancement in devotional service. And the second criteria is a criteria according to love and attachment to Lord Krishna. And in this purport which we read, Srila Prabhupada recited knowledge from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where there is description of different kinds of devotees. And neophyte devotees, the devotee who has attachment, some test to worship to the deities in the temple, and he likes to worship deity in the temple, but he cannot. He don't see Krishna anywhere. Only he see Krishna only in the deities, but he cannot see Krishna in the devotees. Of course, in the material world, in non-devotees, he see Krishna only in the deity, and he has some attachment to such worship. He cannot respect other devotees. And the second devotee, Madhya Madhyakari, he has attachment not only for deity, but also for other devotees. He can respect other devotees, he can make friendship with other devotees, and he loves other devotees. And according to explanation of 11th canto of Bhagavatam, he divide people on. He do 4 divisions. He has 4 qualities. He worships the Lord, which he try to love the Lord. He make friendship with devotees. He avoid non-devotees, and 4 shows mercy to innocent people, who is not expert in devotional service, but who is not envious. The 4 qualities of Madhya Madhyakari. And the Uttama Madhyakari, or topmost devotee, usually Madhya Madhyakari preacher of Krishna consciousness. He's preaching Krishna consciousness. Because he has a firm faith, he can preach. And Uttama Madhyakari, or Mahabhagavata devotee, he has such a deep love to the Lord that he see Lord everywhere and everyone and everywhere. He see the Lord in devotees, of course, in the deities, in non-devotees, in material nature, in what happened in politics and economic. Whenever he see, he remember the Lord, and he see the Lord everywhere. Therefore, because he has such deep attachment and love for the Lord, he don't see some other things, only Lord. Therefore, he don't preach. Do you understand? Logic. Because he see only Lord. There is no ignorance, there is no Maya. Only Krishna everywhere and everyone. Therefore, he don't preach. Therefore, And is one important, maybe later I will remind. And such devotee don't preach usually, but sometimes, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, sometimes such devotee voluntarily come to the level of Madhya Madhyakari, preacher, and sometimes he can preach. And his preach also different from preach of second-class devotee, because second-class devotee can divide. I can preach this kind of non-devotees, but this kind of non-devotees not for me. Too strong. They too strong, too convinced. He make the differentiation. But if Mahabhagavata devotee preach he has no any difference. He preached everyone, everywhere, and every circumstances without any discrimination. Yeah, and because he very expert in the revealed scriptures, he can prove, he can conquer any argument, any opinions, any. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya himself showed this by his own example, and such devotees like Vaisanva Saraswati Thakur and our Srila Prabhupada show such example of preaching. Yeah, there is one story. It was in India. I don't believe where particularly Srila Prabhupada preached in. It was Indian gentlemen and ladies. Shigarindai Ki Jai. This audience was mostly Indian people. It was in India, and Srila Prabhupada usually use very strong words like people who like dogs, cats, asses, like yeah. And after this lecture, during this lecture, it was questions, answer for questions. One gentleman, Indian gentleman, raised the hand and asked, you should, he asked Prabhupada, you should see everyone equal. You should treat everyone equal. But why you glorify one kind of people? Why you condemned? Why you offend these people? Because the spiritual level means you should be equal. There is no difference. Because he loves Krishna, he don't difference devotee and devotee. You should on the transcendental level, there is no discrimination, but you discriminate what kind of preacher you are. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada gave a very nice answer. He said, I speak about Krishna and I preach about Krishna. And I don't do discrimination who I preach. I preach everyone. That is my freedom from discrimination. Do you understand what I mean to say? Yeah, with my freedom from discrimination, my equal attitude to everyone is that I preach the same everyone without any discrimination. Yeah, interesting answer. And Chaitanya Charitamrta, Madhya Lila 15 and 16 chapters, there is one interesting story about three kinds of devotees. It was some devotee, some group of devotee every year come to Jagannath Puri and spend about 4 or 6 months with Lord Chaitanya every year. And in this group of devotees from Bengal was two devotees, Satyaraja Khan and Ramananda Vasan. Yeah. They were from the like village or like small town, Kulinagram. I don't know, Kulinagram. Yeah. And Lord Chaitanya asked this devotee personal request to make ropes made of silk and to bring to Jagannath Puri, and these ropes used for moving Lord Jagannath from his throne, from the temple to his chariot. When the servant of Lord Jagannath move the Jagannath deity, it's very heavy. They move from one pillow to another pillow. Just they cannot. It is so heavy that they moved from one to another place. Yeah. Yeah, and they use this kind of ropes. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya asks this to devotees every year. Sometimes these ropes can be broken because Lord Jagannath is so heavy. Lord Chaitanya asks this to devotees bring the silken ropes for Lord Jagannath. And one year, Satyaraja Khan approached the Lord and asked interesting question. He asked, we are family people, we engaged in family affairs and many obligations and duties. How can we make advancement in Krishna consciousness? Lord Chaitanya said, always chant Hare Krishna mantra and serve to the devotees. And Satyrajakanda asked him, how can I recognize who is a devotee? Yeah. Lord Chaitanya answered, one who even once pronounced the holy name of Lord Krishna is a devotee. He glorified, he is ready to accept your service. Yeah, understand? Okay. The next year, it was the same situation. Satyaraja Khan approached the Lord Chaitanya and asked the same question. What is the way for materialistic family people to advance? And Lord Chaitanya said the same. Always chant Hare Krishna mantra and serve the devotees of the Lord. Satyaraja Khan again asked, how can I recognize who is a devotee? And in that year, Lord Chaitanya answered, those who chant holy name of the Lord constantly that is devotee. Yeah, he is glorified. You should worship him. And the same story was in the third year. The same again come to Lord Chaitanya, and Satyaraja Khan humbly asked this question. Lord Chaitanya answered, you should always chant Hare Krishna mantra and serve the devotees of the Lord. How can I recognize who are devotees? Those who just seen him, you remember immediately about Krishna. That is devotee. You should serve this such kind of devotee. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati explains that there is some meaning of these three kinds of answers which Lord Chaitanya gave each one after 1 year. That Lord Chaitanya explains the process of advancement for family people, who have many duties, and he explains three kinds of devotees: the Kanishthadhyakari, Madhyamaadhyakari, and Uttamadhyakari. That means Kanishthadhyakari, the devotee who even once uttered the holy name of Krishna with face. Yeah. The second class devotee, the Madhyamadhyakari, this devotee always chants the holy name of the Lord. And the first class devotee, Uttamadhyakari, just see such devotee, everyone remember Lord Krishna immediately. Yeah. And what is a practical point for us to know about different kinds of devotees, or what is the need? Of course, the devotion, what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Just surrender to me. Surrendering the process, when we dovetail our energy to the service of the Lord, is most important quality in spiritual life. But if we know the details, the practice, devotional service, this knowledge make our progress in Krishna consciousness more smooth, more quick, and more nice, very nice. And how can we serve Nafa devotees? In Nectar of Instruction, Lord Rupa Goswami says that we should respect devotees who inferior position. We should respect in mind. We not necessary to bow down to make some obeisances, but we should respect in our mind. And we should feel? We should feel compassion. Yeah. Who is not so experienced in devotional service, we should feel compassion. If we do this and we feel this, then we can very quickly progress in Krishna consciousness. If it was not important, Lord Chaitanya didn't say this instruction. Therefore, we should serve three kinds of devotees. Yeah, but we serve them in different way. Yeah. In the second class devotees is preacher. Yeah, what we should do if the person about on our level also more experienced, we should be friendly, and we should not envious to such devotees. Yeah, we should have friendly relationship with equal devotees. And we should bow down if he take an initiation. We should respect. We should offer respect to such devotee, and we should not be. And there should not be competition with equal devotees. It's very important. It's also a question of the heart. Yeah, and the highest devotees is more easier. We should worship and offer all kinds of service to such devotees. Yeah. Therefore, this instruction is very important, and when we know this knowledge, this make our advancement in Krishna consciousness very successful. We help others to advance in Krishna consciousness. We don't provoke anyone to have bad feelings, to complain, to feel themselves not good in our association. Yeah. Yeah, to feel themselves happy, and we help others to progress in Krishna consciousness. Help others to progress in Krishna consciousness. And we established a atmosphere of harmony in the society of devotees. And if there is this sense is present, our progress Krishna consciousness will be very nice, will be very quick. Yeah. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya explains these details of practice Krishna consciousness, and we should get lessons from these instructions. I stopped here. Maybe somebody wants to ask some questions or some comments. Yes, please.
We hear quite often that the youth of Ali teach to see the need, because you see that everybody's.
Can you load loudly, please, if possible? Yeah. Yeah.
Very well. Ali doesn't preach, doesn't see the need to preach, since everybody's engaged in Krishna's service. But doesn't you think Madhya see how much people are going to suffer? Doesn't you think, wow, this person's going to go to the hellish times for 50,000 years, I need to do something to try and save them, just give them some Mahaprasad at least?
I didn't understand. Maybe in other words, question. Okay, it's comment.
Well, it's a question.
A question.
Why does the youth of Adhikari not see the need to preach?
Why he don't see need? Yes.
If he can, he must see more than anybody how much the person is going to suffer, even more than.
Why he don't preach?
It seems like he isn't very compassionate.
I already answered for this question during the lecture, because we read that the devotees, one of the criteria of divisions of different kinds of devotees, the attachment and love to the Lord. They experience such deep love and to the Lord, that he see everywhere the Lord. Yeah. That's the answers for questions. Yeah, this question. He has this. We cannot even understand what does it mean, the spiritual love. It's very, very amazing. And because the point is why he don't preach. The point is because he see everywhere Krishna. He don't see influence of Maya. There is no Maya for him, because everywhere Krishna, and such devotee don't see the faults in other people. Yeah, because there is no fault in his heart. He's fully clean. Yeah, pure. Therefore, he don't. Usually, we see some discrepancies or some faults in others if we have this kind of faults in our heart, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But such devotee is so pure-hearted devotee that cannot, they don't see faults of others. And as Srila Prabhupada many times say that he considered that everyone serve Krishna, but he does not.
And the question still stands that does he not say that the person is suffering, or does he just not see that? If he sees everything as Krishna, does he not see that the person is suffering?
No, if he voluntarily come to the level of Madhya Madhyakari, I think we can come to conclusions that he can see. Yeah, he can see. But he's so absorbed in his relationship with the Lord that they cannot, they don't want to divert his attention of loving exchanges with the Lord. But he can see the sufferings. Because if he completely don't see the sufferings of others, he would not come to the level of Madhya Madhyakari preacher. Maybe. Yes.
Sorry, just a quick question. Is there any connection with this, what you are explaining?
It's another question, yeah?
No,
okay.
Is there any connection between this shloka and your answer? I mean, the shloka in Bhagavad Gita 6.7 translation, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So is there any connection? Like, is that because for him everything is the same? So does he see the same in others as well? So it's a question, but connection question. Sorry.
Yes.
So is that because he has conquered his mind so that he see everything same, or is that the level of Uttamadhikari?
No, what is the level of mind? We can remind what is the level of mind when we identify ourselves with material body. When we consider ourselves as material body, then our life full of duality. Because everyone who identifies with material body, this his goal of life, sense enjoyment, naturally. Yeah. Therefore, duality. What means duality in this case? If something favorable for my sense enjoyment, I like it. If some things not favorable and some impediment for my enjoyment, I reject it. This acceptance and rejection is material level. Therefore, the self-realized devotee don't identify himself with material body, and therefore automatically there is no he does not see difference between material advantage and disadvantage, because he don't identify because he does not identify himself with material body. This conception of life is not sense enjoyment. He tried to be servant of Krishna, or he tried to be Brahman realization. Therefore for him there is no conception duality. I explain.
Yes.
Krishna, maybe you answer for your question yourself. No, okay, it's okay.
Yeah. So my question is like Kripa Siddh, Nitya Siddh, and Sadhana Siddh, all are on Uttamadhikari stage, or Kripa Siddh, Sadhana Siddh?
I read in Srila Prabhupada, I believe it's Nectar of Devotion, where Srila Prabhupada says that ultimately there is no difference between three kinds of siddhas, ultimately. But there is difference the way how they come to the platform of siddha. But ultimately there is no difference, but the different way of achieving such perfection.
So Siddha means Uttamadhikari?
Siddha, no, the word siddha, Sanskrit word siddha, means those who achieve perfection, of course. Because if sadhana siddha means already achieved perfection. That means that after in the time of death he go to the spiritual realm. Yeah, but different ways of achieving. Yeah.
Thank you for the class. So, in one Srila Prabhupada lecture, he says Mahaprabhu first advice for Grahasthas is to give up association of non-devotees. But when we were studying the Bhagavad, I came across one line saying the Uttama Adhikaris doesn't get affected when they, I think in the last part of Bhagavad it is called.
Mhm. Yes, we read there is he does not
He doesn't get affected by
try to avoid
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Even though he mixed with non-devotees to preach, there's no possibility for them to fall down.
Mhm.
So my question is, when we are living in a world which is maximum population on devotees, only few are practicing. So will that help us, like when we go out for preaching purposes, when we come across non-devotees, will that help us identify whether I am a Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama Adhikari when I have to come across such non-devotees? Is my mind affected? Will that help me to identify which level of devotee I am? Or
Of course, this help everyone, but the point is we should see that association with devotees more than association with non-devotees. The association which in society with devotees we get more favorable association than association with non-devotees. We should very look what that
So my question is, sorry, we are not trying to associate with them, but when we come across non-devotees, when we have like a preaching purpose, when we communicate with them, when they come back with some answers or they don't have faith, because of that we shouldn't get affected, isn't it? So my point is to how to, with the state of mind I am, will that help me to identify which state
mhm.
when we try to preach for them?
And during the preaching,
Yeah.
in the 15th chapter of Madhya Lila, the story which I explain this Satyaraja Khan, there is purport that Srila Prabhupada said that Kanishta Adhikari also can convert in the devotees, non-devotees. He not so powerful as Madhya Adhikari, but he can. Therefore, it's better to think about ourselves like almost on the lower stage, it's humble, yes, more safe position. But if there is desire, I can find this purport. Srila Prabhupada said, neophyte devotee can preach, yeah. But he not regular preacher, he not systematic preacher. But if somebody he meet in his life and he gives book and explains something, he can convert this person. He can bring this person in the society of devotees. Yeah. Therefore, anyway, if it's favorable for your preaching, if it's inspiring, you can remember levels. Yeah. There is no prohibition. There is no problem. Yeah, you can use any instructions of scriptures which help you to be enthusiastic and preach Krishna consciousness. Yeah, therefore, all devotees the same philosophy, the same teachings, but because all devotees different, they can use their own tools in practicing. There are many tools. Srila Prabhupada gave us, there are many instructions. We can take shelter in which more close to us, and therefore I don't think that it's wrong. Yeah, but always, no, everyone who preach usually humble, because as soon as we come to try to preach non-devotees, they make us humble. Yeah, Слушай, Кришна.
Actually, it says there is no possibility that a first class devotee will fall down, even though he may mix with non-devotees to preach.
Yes.
So the Bhutan Adhikari is preaching.
Yeah, I mentioned, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in what Srila Prabhupada also writes in this commentaries, sometimes Uttamadhikari voluntarily can come to the platform of preacher, to come to the level of Madhya Madhikari. But it looks like Madhya Madhikari who preach, but his preaching is very powerful, not special. Yeah. No, Srila Prabhupada, when I read this part of purport, I remember Srila Prabhupada came to America, all non-devotees, hippies, also non-devotees. He was alone around all these people who don't know what to do, what not to do. And he preached like example, yeah.
So this is one place where Srila Prabhupada, he asks the devotees, what are they doing on the field? And they said they're playing golf. And Prabhupada said, what is golf? And he said, well, what it is, Prabhupada, they've got a hole in the grass. And they've got this metal stick. And they hit the ball and the ball go down into the hole. And Prabhupada started crying.
Ah.
He said, what a waste. And, so he was feeling compassion, and he was seeing how much, although everybody else thought they were having a good time, but he could see that they were suffering. So is that because if he was just in Uttama Adhikari mode, he wouldn't be crying seeing them playing golf?
Mm-hmm.
But if he comes down to the Vaisanva Adhikari platform, then he starts crying because he sees their suffering? Or is he does the Uttama Adhikari because he was
Uttama Adhikari can cry also in compassion when he comes to the platform of preacher. Yeah, he also, yeah. I have the similar story, small story. I think it was on Gavaya. I believe it was on Gavaya, where people very found in surf. What is in surfing? Yeah, yeah. And you know this story when in on morning walk on conversation, morning walk, when Srila Prabhupada saw people on the board, they to say. They swim on the board between the waves. He asked, "What's this?" Devotees say, "This surfers." He again asked, "Sufferers?" Devotee began to laugh. Also, do you know Continental? This big board, Continental. In America, when Srila Prabhupada walked, he looked at this big board. It was some advertisement of Continental. I think the tires for cars, maybe Continental. He asked, "What's this? Is Chintamani? What's this?" Okay. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki, Shiva Prabhupada ki, Jai. Gita Gaura Premananda, Hari Bol.
Jai.